See, Jeremy England is with us. Good morning, sir. How are you? It's good to have you.
Good morning, Paul. Doing good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm ready for the weather to change. We got teased a little bit. We're not going to get back to fall until midweek next week. And I think this is something that the Biden administration is doing to prove that there's global warming.
Look, I wouldn't doubt it.
All right, let's talk about the first of all a lot of different things. You came through your election. You came through. Well, you're not finished yet, but do you have a competition in your race?
I do, Paul. Yes, I have two opponents on the ballot on this next general election, and looking forward to that. And while you give me an opportunity, I want to ask my folks in District 51 to send me back to Jackson, and let's keep doing good things. You
chair what committee? Judd B. Is
so
that right?
I vice chair Judd B. Yes, that's
vice
correct.
chair. Yeah, vice chair. What are you? If you do get back in, what are you looking at as far as any changes, or what you think is going to be the top items that come up on the 2024?
Well, we're going to have a lot of big items coming up. I know. Look, we're looking at the hospital situation. We're looking at how we can help improve education. I think we're going to see some more issues with parental choice come into that. We are going to be looking at how we can help our law enforcement officers, which I always like to do here in Mississippi. And so those are going to be your top issues, I believe, going into this next session. And look, my first session 4 years ago, we had COVID pop up. So we've learned to think quick on our feet. Who knows what will end up actually being our top issue.
That's a good training ground, wasn't it? I do want to mention this, that the James Williams, since you're on vice chair of Judd B., James Williams III, that double parolee, and we all went through that story earlier in the latter part of last year, or this year, I should say. But you start looking at the fact that he has a DUI now and arrested for being driving while intoxicated. As far as you know, is legally, isn't that immediate revocation of your parole status?
So, Paul, I'm not real sure. I'll have to plead ignorance on that. I don't do a lot of criminal law, but I am looking forward to letting the parole board look at that. I look forward to seeing what they say on that. But I haven't had a lot of time to look at it as we sit here right now. Yeah. It is very unfortunate, though. I mean, the guy needs to be law-abiding, which he's apparently not doing very good at.
Well, a lot of people commented that maybe it was wine. You know, he has that divinity degree, but I didn't think humor or sarcasm needed to be put into that story. But that was the trending as far as social media is concerned.
Right.
Your overview of the governor's election.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to the governor's election. I think that we're going to see Tate Reeves get reelected here in Mississippi. At least I hope so. We've got a lot of good things going. Look, I was just at a conference in Nashville with legislators from all over the Southeast, and they were all coming up to me asking me, how did you guys turn education around so quick? And the answer is that we've had great leadership. We had, when he was Lieutenant Governor, Tate Reeves was good with education, and we're continuing that with him being governor now. And that's getting noticed. I mean, there's nothing that makes me more proud than having folks from other states come up and say, look, we want to do what you guys are doing. Yeah. So that's been a huge thing. We've got, look, as far as the coast goes, the governor was down here just last week handing out $44 million in projects that are going to help quality of life. They're going to help infrastructure. So look, as far as I'm concerned, we have a guy in office that's doing a great job. We're a Republican state. I think as long as folks get out and go vote, we're going to be looking good with the general election.
Yeah, but that's going to be the key there. How do you get the people out to vote? Because if they don't, I think Brendan Presley has got a chance to be the delight of Democrats all over this country by winning the governorship in a Republican state. That's going to make news that they probably will be relentless on for, I don't know, maybe 4 years, all the way through 4 years.
Well, and look, Paul, you mentioned that when you say the national Democrats are doing that. Look, Republicans just took back over the governor's mansion in Louisiana, so they're going to be gunning for this. And look, I've met Brandon Presley several times. I think he's a nice guy, but he's a Democrat. He's gonna listen to these folks that are wanting to turn Mississippi purple, and he's going to be listening to the policies that they have, and we all have to be worried about that. And I will say, as far as the voter base goes and the excitement level,
yeah.
I was at the biennial for the Mississippi Republican women just this past Saturday, and I can tell you our Republican women are fired up. And if our Republican women are fired up, every Democrat in Mississippi needs to be worried because, they're going to make sure we get out and vote.
Jeremy, I'm watching a football game, and about every commercial, it was Brandon Presley. Those ads are expensive, and I know there's one of them that really got me. And I'm sorry, it tweaked me. He's got Brandon Presley at a desk with a big Bible, and he's talking about how wonderfully a pro-life he is. And I know, and you know, and everybody else in this state knows, those commercials are paid for by not so much people in this state, because the Democrat Party in this state doesn't have a hell of a lot of money. They might be able to run a couple of ads on the thrifty nickel. That money is coming out of the North. And when that money comes out of the North, nothing's free. They want something for it. But you can just about guarantee that money is not coming from pro-life people. It's coming from pro-choice people to a governor who's telling the people of Mississippi, looking them in the eye with a Bible right in the foreground, saying that he is pro-choice or pro-life. And I think it resonates with a lot of people in this state. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, look, anytime you bring the Bible into things, people think, oh, look, this is, we're gonna hit on our religion, we're gonna hit on Christianity, but you do have to look at that as, like you say, who's funding these? Is somebody trying to pull the wool over our eyes here on this? And when you look at it, we've got a proven leader, Christian leader in the governor's mansion right now that has signed bills. He had Riley Gaines just down here recently, where we've decided in Mississippi we're not going to let men play women's sports. And look, there's many more things we can do, but we've got a proven leader that's ready to go do those things. So why would we let a commercial tell us, look, hey, this guy's going to do one thing versus the other? We've got somebody already doing it. So that's the way I look at it.
I tell you why nobody's taking this for granted, because it just happened to us 3 years ago with Joe Biden and a guy who did a darn good job in Donald Trump. So nobody's taking this for granted. But that said, they've got to get out to vote.
That's right. Look, you can say that as many times as you can between now and the general election, because that's absolutely right. And I'll tell you another conversation I had this past week was with a guy that that did not support Governor Reeves in the primary, but he came up to me and he said, look, we've got a very important election on our hands. He said, I'm telling everybody I know, look, regardless of how I was in the primary, we've got to elect Governor Tate Reeves again. We've got to have a Republican in office. And I was so glad to hear him say that, because it was a very passionate guy. And I said, look, you need to tell your friends that. Let's not have a protest vote. Let's not worry with that. When you look at the record, we have a very good record right now. We're doing some great things in Mississippi. We're moving in the right direction. Let's all be encouraged by that and go out and vote based on that.
We not only cut taxes as far as personal income tax. A lot of people wanted it to be cut all the way, but I think it was reasonable to take it step by step and see what that does to services and everything else. And so far, it's worked out pretty darn well. But and by the way, I think we are, stop me if I'm wrong on this, the 9th lowest as far as personal income tax. So we didn't join the Tennessees and the Floridas, but we are one of the lowest, the 9th lowest in the country now as far as personal income tax, and ready to make that other stage when we take those little baby steps and wean ourselves from that altogether, which is a good fiscal, responsible way of doing that. The other part of this, and I want to talk to you when we come back on this one, this governor did that, and it's not about personality. It's not about who's the best people person or speaker or who can sell you something, snowballs in Alaska. It's about who is the best leader under fire. And I don't think anybody in recent history has been under fire more with hurricanes, with storms, and with a pandemic who performed. So forget about who can talk the best or who can outshine someone on a stage here or there, or maybe who's got the best voice to sing an Elvis song. Who's the best leader? We'll talk more about that with Jeremy England. Gallo Show, and I thank you. State Senator Jeremy England is with us on this segment. Here's a trivia question for you. You ready for it? Who held the first recorded lottery ever that we know about? Who held the very first lottery in the history of lottery? Forget about it. It was Augustus Caesar. Caesar held the first lottery. He did it to repair the city. They needed some funds, and he did it to repair the city. So, little trivia this morning. I did not know that, so it's been around for quite a while. I mentioned when we were going out, again, Jeremy England is my guest. When you look at the successes we have, the economic success is incredible. The amount of revenue that we're able to spend on different things that we really, really need. A highway bill that is probably the best since the William Winter days. So many different things. Going in and actually taking command of the Jackson crisis there in the midst of a terrible situation. All of these different things. Whether you like him or not, you have to give him credit for that. I often talk about this as a surgeon. When I was a very young man, one of the first doctors we had, it was one of the most worst surgeons, worst doctors you could have as far as bed manners. But he was known as a fabulous doctor. And I've always thought about that. I don't care if he's the bus driver or the airplane pilot or the surgeon or a lawyer or accountant. If they are good at what they're doing, keep them. So your thoughts on going through this situation with COVID and what that means to the voters.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. Look, we all went through COVID. Every state in the nation went through COVID. And when you look at it, some of them just fell flat. Some of them are so much in debt now that their grandchildren are going to be paying tons of money for the decisions that their leadership made. And Mississippi did not do that. As a matter of fact, again, I mentioned being around other legislators from other states recently, just this past week, and they mentioned, hey, we saw your governor on the news. How's he doing in his reelection bid? We remember seeing him when we were talking about COVID and opening businesses back up and getting people back to work. And that's the perception they have. And that's the right perception. That's what we did. Governor Tate Reeves opened us back up. And look, today, after the 4 years that we just went through, people in Mississippi are paying less in taxes. We're driving on better roads. Our workforce is better developed, and that's huge. That's attracting the attention of big job creators throughout the country. And we've had some very big wins for family values here in Mississippi, and we just can't ignore that. And like you say, you've got a fabulous doctor. Who cares about bedside manners? You want them operating on you if they're good at what they do. And we've got a very good leadership team, starting with Governor Tate Reeves right now.
Yeah, and none of these, with the last time a Democrat was in the governor's chair, none of these things happened. Biggest teacher pay raise, no. The biggest economic deal in the country, no. Biggest tax cuts, no. Lowest unemployment, no. When the Democrats were in the House and the Senate and in the governor's mansion, none of those things happened. As a matter of fact, we were in a deficit in the budget and also in the rainy day fund.
That's right, and that's full now, right? I mean, we're ready to hit the next storm, and we'll be well prepared for it. And you mentioned all the things that Governor Tate Reeves went through right when he jumped into office. You know, people forget we had a prison crisis right off the bat. We had tornadoes hit near Collins. We had a flood in the state capitol. We had a hurricane. We had other tornadoes. Then we had COVID. I mean, look, Paul, this governor is tested by every means you can be tested by. And he stood strong. He stayed the course. He's been solid on his policy. He's kept a good foundation about him, and we've still been able to come out of all of that with some major wins here in the state of Mississippi.
I was looking at it. There's a polling from Wallet Hub, and they always do this. But the most stressed state in the nation, they have rated Mississippi as the most stressed state in the nation. And I think that's because the people are worried about the turnout, and a Democrat could could wind up as the governor. I had that in here somewhere. I'll find it. Your final thoughts, sir?
Yeah, look, hey, we can alleviate that stress if we all make up our mind to go vote on November 7th. Get out there, call our friends, get them to go vote. Tell them it's very important that we keep Governor Tate Reeves in office. So that'll get. Look, I feel less stressful just saying it already.
Yeah, there you go. Always appreciate the visit, Jeremy. Look forward to talking to you during the session, sir. Have a good one.
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you.
That is, you got it. State Senator Jeremy England. J.T. Mitchell is going to join.